the dedication of U.S. military personnel, that people can read that novel and understand the motivations and mindset of people who are raising their right hand and volunteering to go into harm's way.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think the logical action on the United States ought to be to what's happening in Iraq and in other parts of the Middle East?
We have to meet that threat. That action has already begun. As we speak, the U.S. has already carried out airstrikes against ISIS positions, and I'm sure as time goes by, U.S. involvement will increase. And I think what this tells us is that the war against militant Islam has never gone away, and probably will not in the foreseeable future. We have a relatively small group of extremists who have hijacked or attempted to hijack a major world religion and twisted it into something that it's not. And I'm afraid the war against that movement is going to go on for quite some time. As we tape this, we're getting close to another anniversary of 9/11. And I can remember on 9/11, one of my squadron mates said to me, "We're going to be dealing with this for the rest of our careers." And he was right.
Yeah, that's pretty profound, isn't it?
It is.
And here we are 13 years later, 14 years later? One of the reasons you're in town is to address the local aviation explorers group. What are you going to tell those kids who might have an interest in aviation?
What I'll tell them, and I certainly appreciate the invitation to speak with them, it's going to be a treat, but what I'm going to tell them is that if they pursue an interest in aviation, there's no telling where it will lead. If you pursue that interest, or really any legitimate interest, and you work hard and you study hard, if you're a young person, you'll find yourself doing things in 20 years that you can't even imagine when you're 16, 17, and 18.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I first started flying as a private pilot, I had no idea it was going to lead me to join the Air National Guard. I certainly had no idea it would lead to a whole new career as an aviation-related novelist.
Uh-huh. Beyond that, what has aviation meant to you as a person? Once you've learned to fly, how's that changed you?
That's a tough one. It's something I've always been interested in, even as a kid. I grew up on a farm in North Carolina, but I never got near an airplane for many years. I don't think I even flew as a passenger in an airplane until I was about 23. But I grew up hearing my grandfather's stories from World War II. He was a mechanic on B-17s in the legendary 8th Air Force, and of course I was fascinated by his stories from the war, and I was always interested in aviation. I read everything I could get my hands on about flying, but I did not have an opportunity to start working on a private pilot's license until much later in life. I had no idea if I would even have any aptitude for it. And then finally, when I was about 28 or 29, I finally had an opportunity to begin flying, and found out that I just loved it, and I've continued with it ever since.
Very well. Well, good. That'll be good advice for those kids, by the way. Good luck with that. And thanks for joining us. It's Tom Young, author of Sand and Fire and other novels in the series, and we'll look forward to the next one. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.